Yes. Okay. We're going to go for it. Right. So, hi, everyone. Welcome to this live webinar with my good friend, Kim. Glad to have you here, darling. Okay. So, I decided to do this in the group for two reasons. The first reason is Kim and I have been besties for ages now. I love the work that Kim does. She is a menopausal woman that coaches hundreds of menopausal women in loss. And we see the comments that come into the group all the time. Often don't comment because it's just overwhelming. There's hundreds every week. But we see them, and we see a lot of confusion and a lot of misinformation and a lot of not understanding of the science behind the nutrition. And Kim and I have both studied nutrition science, and we're in a good place to have this conversation to be able to help you. So the reason I got Kim on is because I wanted to have a conversation with her to hopefully just get rid of the confusion. I pride myself on giving sane nutritional advice, and I'm going to die on that hill. I've said that to Kim loads of times. I get really tired when I see all of you've got to do this, you've got to do this diet, because it often isn't backed by valid research. And even if it works, why would you do something that's overly complicated when we know that the most basic nutritional principles work? And that's what Kim's going to go through with you today, specifically for menopausal women. What is also going to happen at the end is Kim's going to do a presentation. We're going to chat the whole way through. And at the end, you're going to have the opportunity to join Kim's new program, the Menopause Fat Loss Formula. So if at the end you're interested, Kim has got that available to you under no obligation, but it's just that people are always asking for that type of coaching, and it's now available to you. So, but really, let's get down to the deep and dirty. Kim, good to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Ladies, I'm in this group with you. I'm a perimenopausal woman. I have struggled with weight loss. Amanda's a good buddy of mine. We've been talking for years about, I keep telling her, I'm like, we should put some kind of video at the top here because the same questions come every week. And I do not fault you ladies for being confused because frankly, the media is a mess. And there's so much false news out there, fake news about how to lose weight. And we see I know. And we see you ladies in the comments trying to, talking to each other and like, I tried this and then what's not working. And, we both try our best to hop in here and help when we can. But like she said, it gets a little bit overwhelming. And so we've been talking about this. So when I came out with my course, she asked to see it. I sent it along to her and she's like, let's talk about this in the group. So here we are.
Yeah, so let me just add to that. So I saw the course and I was like, oh, this is great because it's just so practical and it's just really valid. And I think you'll hear it and you'll just recognize so much of yourself in this. And so let's just get some realness going. So Kim's actually has pulled a presentation together because she's a pro. And so the presentation's going to start now and she's going to talk through it. And I'm going to interrupt as she goes along. Let's just see if this comes through in the group. So right. This is us doing a little bit of a, ooh, can we make this?
See that in the screen? Can everybody see my screen? Do you guys see a pretty pink background?
Not yet. But I think there's a slight deck. Oh my God, it's there.
It's there. Oh. Perfect. Yeah, there we are. All right. So let's talk about it. Here's what we're going to chat through today. So we're going to talk about the 4 ways that weight loss is different in perimenopause and menopause versus before. Now you're going to hear me. Sometimes I'll say perimenopause and sometimes I'll say menopause.
There's many pauses in menopause.
There's many pauses.
Yeah,
Clearly they're different things, but for our purposes today, everything I'm speaking about applies to both. So wherever you are, it applies to both. We're going to talk about the 6 parts of the Menopause Fat Loss Formula. Okay, the question I get asked the most is at the end, so don't leave early. Then I have a challenge for you, and then we're going to take your questions if everyone wants to stick around, and we've got some time for that. So here's me. I do want you ladies to know I am not just teaching you from my professional experience. This is what I do for a living. I do help women lose weight and get strong, but this has also been my life. Here's me when I was 38. Here's me when I was 49. I'm 50 now. This is right before my 50th birthday. Almost this entire transformation took place in perimenopause, though I didn't know I was in perimenopause like many of you for a lot of this time. So here are some of the things that I struggled with. hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, vertigo, allergies, and brain fog. My very first perimenopause symptom happened when I was 41. I went to the emergency room with vertigo, and no one seemed to know what was wrong with me. And after many experiences with this vertigo, I was incredibly concerned. No one else ever mentioned menopause to me. Years, it was years. And then as the symptoms added up, I was convinced I had MS. I had all kinds of diseases in my mind that I must have. And it wasn't until
like I was the same.
Yeah.
In fact, I went to ER and one of my family members took me.
Yeah,
like,
I went to ER several times.
Yeah.
So
it's just the unknown. At least the women in this group shouldn't be living in the unknown. At least they should have at least the awareness that they're in perimenopause, which is it's an advantage to a lot of women. Yeah.
Yes. And I know that's one of the reasons that both Amanda and I are passionate about talking about this so openly, is because we don't want women to be in the dark about perimenopause. And I don't want women to be in the dark about how to lose weight, because that was me. Guys, I struggled with my weight all through my 30s. I kept getting heavier and heavier and trying to lose weight and putting on more weight. And it wasn't until my 40s that I got this issue under control. And then I started coaching other women to do that. So I've been a coach about 7 years now. I want you to know, if you leave here with nothing else today, I want you to leave knowing that you can lose weight in menopause. You can. I know it feels heavy and it feels like maybe I can't, and you can. Women do it all the time. And I'm going to show you, a lot of people don't love before and afters. Here's why I like them. It's good evidence for you that your peers do this. Okay. These women are incredible people. They're special people, but there's nothing special about their ability to lose weight in menopause. Kathy, it was in her 50s during this entire transformation, from here to here in her 50s. Check this out. Here's Sydney, mid 40s, looks like a different person. This is Kim. Kim is in her 50s, solidly in menopause. Left pictures are last fall, right pictures are now. She lost 31 pounds, and I think it was like 30 inches, 11 of those inches right on her belly. Okay, you can do this. There's nothing special about their ability to do this. So let's talk about what's different, because there are some things that are different for us. Number one is that there's a small decline in our metabolism. That sounds right? You've heard that. What I want you to know, it is not a massive decline. It is not this humongous decline that's going to have you needing to eat 1,200 calories. You look like you want to say something, Amanda. Oh, I'm not hearing you, babe.
Sorry, I put myself on mute. I'm in the group. I'm like trying to keep on top of things there to make sure if there's any questions. So if I'm looking confused, it's because I am.
Oh. No, you jump in anytime.
But while you're talking about the deficits, this is something that we hear all the time, like my metabolism's tanked. I'm in menopause, my metabolism's tanked. So what we know from the research and science is that metabolism does slow down with age. It's usually linked to being sedentary and getting older, and it's accelerated somewhat through menopause. That's a fact, we know it. But you and I were talking off screen. It's likely maybe that muffin that you're having from Starbucks every day. It's not huge. It's maybe a couple of 100 calories. Yeah. That's all I would say about that, because I think people think that, their world has completely changed there because their metabolism's tanked. But also you're going to sort of show people how to sort of like improve the metabolic rate anyway, right?
Absolutely. Because look, you can't reverse all of it. Some of the decline is going to be there, but you do have more power than you think you do. I will tell you, a lot of people are going to try and tell you can rev your metabolism with these things: supplements, superfoods, special workout protocols. That's not where it's at, ladies. You're not going to rev your metabolism with these things.
You were trying to be woke then. You were trying to be like one of the kids.
I don't know what I was trying to do.
Well, let me just stop you there. HIIT cardio. I have a real peeve about HIIT cardio. Say that when you're drunk 5 times. Anyway, so my pet peeve about this is like I've been a trainer for 30 years, right? And when I first learned about high intensity interval training, it was always as the cherry on top of the workouts, right? So the principles of like Tabata or working in this anaerobic threshold. Anaerobic means without oxygen. So you're working at your absolute 95% peak. You can only do that for a few minutes. You can't do that for 45 minutes. And now I look around and like the Beachbody workouts are a really good example of this. 45 minutes of jumping. Makes no sense to me. There's no progressive overload or anything.
Yeah.
And it's not HIIT training. It's not true HIIT training anyway.
It's not.
So anyway, soapbox. I'm off my soapbox. Yeah.
And doing that is not as good of a use of your time as other things. Not that doing some of these, like Amanda's talking about, like doing a little bit of that. Like I love doing some metabolic conditioning circuits, super short and, very sparingly, maybe once or twice a week, do a little bit of that stuff, but that should not be the bulk of your workout. And it's not going to rev your metabolism. These things right here, strength training and increasing your NEAT, those things can actually rev your metabolism. Okay, how does that work? Ladies, you might know this. You might be stunned to hear this. Every decade after you turn 30, you will lose muscle mass 3 to 8% per decade if you don't do something actively to prevent that loss. This does impact your metabolic rate. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, particularly when you are active, when you are training. Okay, so how do you prevent that loss? You eat enough protein and you strength train with progression.
Oh,
when I
stop.
When I tell you I want you to put muscle on, this is not what I mean.
This is the type of muscle I want to put on, like literally. Anyway, sorry.
Look, we probably don't want to look like The Rock, right? You cannot just diet yourself fit. You can't. Lean and toned is not just fat loss, it's fat loss and muscle building. That muscle building piece is so important to rev your metabolism. It is also really important for you to be healthy as you age. If you want to be the woman getting up off the toilet by herself when she's 80, you do not want to be losing your muscle mass.
Okay.
Right? And I know that's not as sexy as saying, like, if you want to like look lean and toned, look, it's the same thing. If you want to look lean and toned, you got to have your muscle mass.
Sorry, I had the volumes went, sorry if I mixed up then, the volumes went a bit crazy. Going back to the toned thing, I really want to talk about that. That's still a conversation that we're debunking and I remember it came from like the Pilates world and the yoga world. Do yoga to get long and lean muscles, like your muscles are going to stretch and get long and lean. It's just sort of not what the muscles do.
They have said it so much that people think it makes sense, but if you think about it, how can your muscles lengthen? Like they insert one place and attach someplace else. Like they have endpoints. They're not lengthening.
No, I think your bones are supposed to stretch with it. I
guess your bones are supposed to stretch, right? But they've said it so much that we're like, well, yeah,
and then when we say muscle building, it freaks everybody out because it makes you think like The Rock. But what we're essentially saying is what people should have been saying, lean and toned all along, is building lean body mass.
Yes. And you're either building muscle or you're not. You can't build toned muscle or, long muscle. You're either building it or you're not building it.
And it's worth pointing out here because Heather's just jumped on and asked the question. She's over 60. Is it possible, Kim?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have clients over 60. Amanda, I'm sure you've worked with women over 60 for sure. You may have seen our friend Susan Niebergall. She is in her 60s. She's got muscle on muscle on muscle. And if you want that look, you can get it. Like you can.
Yeah. And it's not as much work as you think as well. That's what I think. Are you going to come to that later, like frequency and everything, Kim, or can we talk about that now?
We can chat about it now. We can absolutely
because Kelly's asking how many times a week. I personally recommend 3 to 4 times a week, but my workouts are only 30 to 40 minutes long and sometimes shorter, sometimes 20 minutes. So I think I personally would say if you're getting in 90 minutes a week of strength training, that's good.
3 to 4 workouts per week is what I recommend as well. You do not need more than that. You do not need to be in the gym every day. In fact, you are probably hampering your results if you are training every single day. Rest days are important. So ideally, I would like you to have at least 2 rest days per week. I know some people are like, I just want to be at it all the time. Minimum 1 rest day per week, ideally 2 rest days per week, where the only movement you're getting is like leisure walking, or I'm swimming just, in a pool because I like to, and I'm floating around with my kids. Like clearly you can keep moving and you should walk on those days, but actual hard training 3 to 4 days a week is ideal.
Yeah. Okay. Carry on. Sorry. We can go back to The Rock if you want.
You want to go back and see him again?
No, I'm just joking. Carry on.
Okay. So that is one piece of revving your metabolism, is building that muscle, keeping it on your frame. The other piece is increasing your NEAT. You may have heard that word, NEAT. This is the long term that it stands for, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is all of the calories you burn outside of structured exercise. So we're not talking about, your Zumba class. We're not talking about getting on the elliptical or riding the bike. We're talking about things like doing your hair, walking your dog, walking around in Target. I do that a lot.
I love that you're doing your hair. Like it literally takes me 3 minutes. I don't
Oh
think
my
I can-
gosh. This
I
is
have
a
no
process.
hair.
This
Yeah,
is a process, Amanda.
You have the American hair. I have like the European no hair.
My
But,
point is, it's all those little ways you move.
Yes.
Literally me sitting here doing this, like that's part of my NEAT, right? If you're a person who fidgets a lot, your NEAT is higher. My husband is always bouncing his knee. His NEAT is higher. And, part of that is just, part of that is just,
sorry, I was going to say, and it's a really easy thing to improve quickly. And it's a really easy thing to add into your daily life without even knowing you're benefiting so many systems in the body and just your overall health. Like, so my husband sits down a lot with his work. And so every 30 minutes or every hour, depending on his workload, I make him get up and go for a little walk around the garden and go back in again. And he's now getting like 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day and literally just doing that, working from home.
Absolutely. And that is so key. And that is my point here. You are not moving as much as you once were. You're not a little kid playing on the playground, and you're not the teenager doing after school sports, and you're not walking across the big college campus. You're likely not chasing toddlers around anymore, right? You're not doing those things. And we're doing a lot of what we're doing right now, which is sitting down. So be purposeful about upping your NEAT, finding ways to move more throughout your day outside of the gym.
Yeah.
That's a big piece of how you can impact positively your metabolism. But that is a very real difference we have, ladies, that we have this small decline in our metabolism. All right, difference number 2 in losing weight in menopause, we have more hurdles. Managing your menopause hurdles is going to be key to your weight loss success. So here's the thing. If you want to just focus on the food, you're likely going to struggle. It's going to be hard to get into the calorie deficit you need if you just ignore the impact that these menopause hurdles are having on your life. What kind of hurdles am I talking about? There's a lot, and we certainly don't have time to talk about all of them, and I could not fit all of them on one screen. So I picked a couple of the biggies. These are going to be no surprise to you. Low energy, lack of sleep, either because of hot flashes and night sweats or because you just straight up have insomnia. Overall, you're not feeling well. When your period does come, if you're still in perimenopause, your period comes and, it's like a horror scene, right? You've got brain fog. Incontinence can make exercising very uncomfortable. Heart palpitations. You're just generally not feeling well. I went through a very long period of time where my hands felt like blocks of ice. I could only think about how cold my hands were. And it was hard for me to pick up weights in the gym. And it was a good 6 months with that particular vasomotor symptom. And anxiety and depression, ladies, that is a huge one. Whether you've never struggled with it before in your life, you might find that this is something that you are now dealing with it. And that can make moving and eating well incredibly hard.
And I might add on to that as well, just like the psychosomatic side of menopause, which is the other sort of like part of the puzzle that we don't talk enough about in general, but you're obviously all well aware of. And that's things like the lack of respect about ourselves, the fact that we've lost confidence in ourselves, our self-esteem has taken a hit, that we don't recognize the person anymore. And we've probably lost belief in our athletic ability too, because most women do. And so as well as dealing with the physical, mental and emotional things, you've also got this like deep dense feeling inside of you of just not knowing the person you are anymore. And that's a really hard hurdle to get over too.
100%.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that, Amanda. That's really, really key. And actually that ties nicely into this. Oh no, we'll talk more about believing in ourselves again in the next difference. Let's hit this one first here. Number 3, our shifting hormones equals a shift in our fat storage. Ladies, this is not going to be any surprise to you, right? Menopause belly is real and it is annoying. And, it's the pattern of our fat storage shifts as our estrogen declines. Most of us are more hip and thigh fat dominant earlier in life. And as we shift into menopause, we tend to store our excess fat in our belly regions. There is a solution and it is not super fancy. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later. And now getting back to what Amanda was just talking about, this idea of believing in ourselves. One of the things we don't believe we can do is lose weight. There is this pervasive belief, and we start to believe it because the media tells us all the time. And our doctors tell us, I think this was before the call, Amanda and I were talking about how women come to me and say they went to their doctor and the doctor's like, yeah, of course you're putting on weight, like you're in menopause. And they don't continue the conversation to like, and what can I do? They just leave it as, this is just how it is. It's all downhill from here. It's inevitable.
And what I would say to that, like adding on to that sort of comment, is that I know really ladies don't get your nutritional advice from doctors. They get very basic nutritional training in medical school and shouldn't really be given that type of advice out. You know, you've got nutritionists, registered dietitians who are like the experts for sure. And we know that, you know, we've had women come to us saying, they've been to the doctor said it's inevitable. Well, that's not completely a lie, because the statistics sort of shows that most women will put weight on in menopause, but then they'll just give out arbitrary advice. You need to stop eating sugar. You need to cut out gluten, or you need to go on keto. And
No
it's
more
just
carbs. Yep.
And no more carbs. And it's really, really frustrating for people like us to hear, because there's not enough real data behind that. And we also know there's more simple ways of doing it. So all I would just say about that is your advice shouldn't come from your doctor when it comes to nutrition. He's tried to give me it before, and I told him where to sling his hook.
Yeah. It's happened to me recently. So I've been very ill, ladies. Like Amanda struggled with long haul COVID. I have as well. No one's telling me it's COVID yet. They're like, we don't know. Was it COVID? Was it not? Well, I've been sick since October. Amanda's been helping me through it this whole time. And I've been to a lot of doctors. My pulmonologist found out that I was lifting weights and is like, don't do that. You should only do cardio. And I was like, what? And then another doctor's, my ENT, because I put on over 20 pounds. I was bedridden, and I've been working to get that weight off. I'm down 12 pounds now. My ENT, he knew I was working to lose some weight. He's like, so I'm assuming you cut out all your carbs already. And I was like, and of course he had a camera shoved up my nose during this conversation. So I didn't chat back, but this is a really real thing. Doctors give out really terrible nutritional advice. I respect doctors a lot. They obviously have their place when they're giving out medical advice. Nutrition, they're not so great there, ladies. All right. So those are the differences in losing weight in menopause versus before. So let's talk about what's the solution then. How do we actually do it? And number one is belief. I know a lot of people are like, ugh, that's so like woo-woo. Stop talking about this. I'm a very practical person, just like Amanda. If you don't believe you can lose weight though, ladies, you're not going to. And here's the real deal about fat loss. It is friggin' hard. If you believe you cannot lose weight due to your age or your hormones, it's going to be very easy to wrongly attribute the inherent difficulties of fat loss to the idea that there is something wrong with you, that you are broken. And in reality, the issue is it is just that hard. It is simple to understand how to lose weight, much more simple than people make it out to be, particularly people selling you some kind of crappy product, right? They try to make it feel mysterious, so you need their thing. It is much more simple to lose weight. It is hard to do over and over, day in and day out in practice. Amanda, you've been there helping people with that.
And I mean, I write about it in my book. I don't coach people anymore, but I've also lived it too. You know, we're both people that put weight on and lost it again. And it's the idea that women think that they have to, I'm all over this. I hate the fact they think they have to give something up to lose weight. They have to restrict. That's always the message that is fed to us. Give something up. You stop eating this, stop eating that, and that's how you lose weight. And that's a really terrible way to go about weight loss. You need to understand that you need to add things that are going to add value and benefit to your life, that can help you on this process. Things that you can do to stop you feeling hungry yet still meet your nutritional goals. Like, all of these are real practical things. But what happens is women follow advice that is hard to stick to. The stickability is not there, and so therefore they might lose a bit of weight, but then it comes back on again. The real way to sort of like do this is believe in the process, not just believe in yourself. Believe that maybe you've been really good for 4 weeks and the scale hasn't moved. Let's just pull back from that and say, well, listen, there's so many health benefits from the small changes you've made anyway outside of fat loss, but just stay the course, because if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, it will happen. But why do you think it's going to happen overnight? Also, you're not 20 anymore. Just saying.
Rub it in, Amanda, rub it in.
But I mean, that's the thing. When we were 20, we would just eat salads and stick a bikini on, wouldn't we? And then that would be it, right? Yeah.
So let's talk about the big gun for weight loss. Now, I know sometimes you hear this and you're like, stop saying it, guys. You've already told me I need to be in a calorie deficit. It doesn't work for me. We're going to talk about in detail in just a minute why you feel maybe it's not working for you. But I want to make sure that you really understand what a calorie deficit is, because sometimes it's one of those words I think people hear and they're like, yeah, but they don't actually get what it means. So really simply, I show you here what it means. And I will tell you, if you have ever lost weight in your life, this is how you did it. Whether you counted calories or not, you were in an energy deficit. So these numbers, by the way, mean nothing. These aren't suggested numbers. These aren't ideal numbers. They're literally, in order for us to have a numerical conversation, I needed to stick some numbers up here. So this person's maintenance calories are 1,800, let's say. If she, over time, ate 1,800 calories on average a day, what would happen to her weight is that she would maintain it. That is her maintenance calories, okay? That's what maintenance looks like. If up here, she over time ate 1,500 calories while her maintenance calories are 1,800, the result would be weight loss. That is a calorie deficit. Eating on average over time, fewer calories than it takes for you to maintain your current body weight. That is a calorie deficit. That's how you lose weight. Down here at the bottom, that's the opposite. This is how you gain weight, by being in a calorie surplus. Over time, you are eating on average more calories than it takes to maintain your weight. This is the energy balance equation. Nothing about weight loss ever falls outside of it. There are certain conditions that can impact either the energy out or the energy in, and you might have some of those. Nothing when you're talking about losing or gaining weight ever falls outside of this. I want to say that again.
So let's talk about that. And I want to reiterate this because I feel as though when some women hear this conversation, they actually get offended. It's not that they don't believe it. They're like, that's not true. It's different for me.
Right.
And so what I would say to those women that really don't believe it is just please listen to us and hear what we say, because this isn't something that somebody's made up. Like nutritional science is a science. It's a fairly new science, but it's a science, and there are principles and laws that go with that science. Kim and I both studied it. And actually, even though we say it's easy, that it's actually quite complex how the body processes energy and how it uses it in the system. There's lots of different energy systems and processes, but it all comes down to the laws of thermodynamics. And so we know this, and we know that energy balance is a principle. So even if you've lost weight, say on keto, somebody always posts a keto thing in the group, like this is how you lose weight. When I read it, I know it's because it's a calorie deficit. It's an energy balance, like swinging in the side of the lower end. And so, so we can talk about how to do the maintenance and everything like that. Heather is asking, how do you know what your maintenance weight is? And Kim can talk about that later. Mm-hmm. But it's just the fact that when you argue with calorie deficits as a principle, you're not arguing with us, you're arguing with science. Mm-hmm. That's all I would. And
then honestly, you've lost already, because you're never going to figure it out. If you start with the principle of this is not a principle that applies to me, you're never going to find the answer, ladies, because there's a lot of nuance and a lot of individuality in how you can set up your nutrition to best work in your life, but none of it's going to work outside of this. Like this has to be there. Like that has to be the foundation. Okay. So, and that's what we just talked about. You're only losing weight.
Yeah.
So, ladies, I'm going to present to you something. Do not be offended. I want you to open mind. If you're like, I tried a calorie deficit, it didn't work for me. Here's what I'm going to present to you. The most common reasons you are not in a deficit, even though you think you are. And as I say these to you, I want you to think really open-minded about yourself and think like which ones, it's usually a combination of these, kind of feel like that could be me. Okay. Number one is weekend overeating. It looks something like this. For this person, she would lose weight right here where this purple line is, okay? She's going to lose weight there. And Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can see she's in that deficit. And frankly, this takes a lot of work. To stay in a calorie deficit for 4 days, that takes a lot of work. So she feels like I'm in this, I'm doing it. Over the weekend, pizza, wine, donuts, pancakes. Look, she's up to 2,500, 3,000, 2,300. Now you might look at those calories and be like, I never eat that much. I am telling you, I could send you right now to your kitchen and you could eat 3,000 calories like that. I could eat 3,000 calories so stinking fast. If you're eating hyper palatable food, if you're eating some pizza, some cake, some candy, even if you stick with the healthy foods, ladies, healthy food has calories. If I go make myself a nice big, peanut butter sandwich on whole wheat bread and then have some avocado, like there's a lot of calories in this stuff. I'm telling you.
Smoothies are ones where, and right? Organic food, they're two things
Mm-hmm.
that I always think that healthy doesn't always mean low.
An acai bowl can have so many calories, ladies. It can have like 1,200 calories just in your acai bowl, right? And that's one meal in a day. And I'm not saying that any of that stuff is bad. What I'm saying is you're likely eating more calories and not realizing it. And so what happens with this particular one is that during the week, it feels really hard and you're in it. On the weekend, you're not really thinking about the fact that you have now gotten your daily average to be 2143 when you lose weight at 1800. And you do this week after week after week. And after a month or two, you're like, why am I not losing weight? I've been in a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit doesn't work for me. And in reality, you just weren't in a deficit when this was figured in.
Can we talk about wine as well?
Yeah. Here's the thing, ladies, you can have wine and lose weight, even at this age. Limiting wine is usually a really good idea. It's usually a really good idea. Here's the thing. The alcohol itself has calories. It often leads to a lot of eating that then has a lot more calories. So it's up to you. You do not have to get rid of it in your life. I would suggest looking for where is it most important in your life and having it there.
Well, what I find that happens when it comes to calorie deficit, I've had clients in the past that have recorded everything, but only recorded one glass of wine a week when it was one glass that just kept getting topped up. Because you sort of, your inhibitions go and you don't monitor it as well, right? So there are easy ways for this to happen. And we also, I think the next slide actually is going to be my point on the overestimating.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get to that one. We'll for sure get to that one. So the next reason, ladies, that you think you are in a calorie deficit, even though you're not, is nighttime snacking. I want to be really clear. I'm not trying to tell you that eating at night is more fattening. That is who people say it. It's not true. A bowl of spaghetti at 9 p.m. is the same number of calories as the same bowl of spaghetti at 9 a.m., right? But if you're overeating due to already having eaten your day's calories, that's the issue. Just like if I gave you $50 and I'm like, here, go buy some stuff at Target, and you go to Target and you spend $50, you can't then go to TJ Maxx and buy more because you are out of money. And that happens with our calories, right? We use the enough up during the day and then we top it off at night, and now we're not in a deficit. Or perhaps you save enough calories to have a nice nighttime snack. And I do have clients, they like to have an evening snack and that works for them. Where people struggle though, is they pick hyperpalatable food and they think they've put down that they've had a serving of chips, and really they've had 5 servings of chips, because people literally make food to make us not stop eating it, right? So that's like even Pringles slogan, once you pop, you can't stop, right? So the hyperpalatable food, and back to the alcohol. So nighttime snacking is one really important space to look for. Am I really in this calorie deficit that I feel like I'm creating? LBTs and food amnesia. I surprised Amanda with this one. She had never heard of this term. LBTs, licks, bites, and tastes. It's going to sound super familiar, even if you've never heard this acronym. You take a lick of your kid's ice cream cone, a bite of your husband's sandwich, you make cookie dough, and you're eating out of the bowl before you actually recognize, like, I had a cookie and 14 bites of cookie dough, right? That's a very different thing. And you might think that doesn't make a difference, Kim. It's a little bit. And it is a little bit. It's a little bit, 10 times per day. You're at dinner and you have 5 bites as you're prepping the meal. You take a drink of, your kid's iced tea. All of this, a calorie deficit is usually, it should be 250 to 500 calories. It is super easy to lick, bite, and taste your way to 250 calories, ladies.
And more, yeah.
Right, and more. And then this is like the twin sister to that last one. It's very similar. And the idea is food amnesia. You think you ate this here on the left. Maybe you're logging your food, maybe you're not. Let's say if you're logging it, you ate your oatmeal, your salad, you had your fish with your veggies. This is what you remember eating, and you forget all these things. You forget your liquid calories. That's a big one. Not remembering the liquid calories. Nothing wrong with having a banana, but it's 100 calories. So if you forget you had it, that's like 100 calories right there. Nibbling on your kids, leftover waffles as you're clearing the table, that handful of nuts that you're like, it's healthy. Yes, it is. It's also a couple hundred calories.
So there was a really interesting study done, and I quote this in my book, where registered dietitians were in a study, and half of the group were given the ability to track their food and log it, and the other half of the group had to estimate it and guesstimate what they were eating. And these are people that do this for a living. These are people that have trained in this for 8-9 years at school, and the registered dietitians that estimated 50% of what they were eating. It's literally impossible to guess what you're eating. Mm-hmm. And I'm not telling you to go and start tracking, but I'm just saying that this food amnesia is real.
It's real. Yeah. You think about that, like trained professionals, 50% off. So I'm in no way accusing you of lying, ladies. I'm not accusing you of lying to yourself or to, your coach or anything like that. It's just, it happens when we're not really hyper aware, and it really can build on that feeling of, a calorie deficit doesn't work for me. And realistically, we're not in that deficit. And then the last reason that you think you're in a deficit, even when you're not, is eyeballing versus weighing. I am not suggesting that you have to, for the rest of your life, carry a food scale around in your pocket. That's ridiculous. But I would say it's a good exercise for a time, specifically with higher calorie foods. Have you ever really thought, like, what's the difference between 2 tablespoons and 3 tablespoons of peanut butter? It doesn't look that different on a piece of bread. It does not look that different. Neither does 2 tablespoons versus 3 tablespoons of oil. It doesn't look that different. It's a lot more calories. Same thing with rice. Like, if I said to you, like, I'll give you $1 million if you can tell me if this is a half versus 3/4 a cup of rice, half you'd get it wrong. Like, it's hard to tell just by looking. And so until you really spend time practicing that, it is one spot you're likely adding calories.
It's a really good awareness exercise, and I actually found it really helpful for myself to do, because I thought I had a good idea, and it's really an eye-opener when you're like, oh, that's what that looks like. Yeah,
that's what it looks like. And it's a good thing to every so often come back to, because our portion distortion can grow over time. So this is a really important point, ladies, and I know it's going to hit you hard. Like, if you are seeing zero progress, the scale's not moving, your measurements aren't changing, you look at side-by-side pictures and there's no difference, and your clothes are not fitting any differently, if none of those are true, you are not in a calorie deficit. You're just simply not. It's not that a deficit isn't working for you. You're not in one. That's literally the definition of a calorie deficit, is that you would be losing fat. And I know that's hard to hear, but I need you to hear it, because it feels really good to just recognize, like, oh, so that's the issue. Now, what can I do about it? Like, that's a really powerful spot to be in, versus like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
So I'd like to sort of add on to that. So, I mean, I didn't have a massive amount of weight to lose through perimenopause. And again, I touch on this in the book, and I'm trying to be respectful about it, because I know other women have more to lose. But I obviously knew all of this with my training, and it still wouldn't stick. I still was looking for reasons to, like, well, why isn't this happening? And it actually required a big chunk of honesty from me. And if I looked back at the time when I wasn't feeling my greatest, I was struggling with symptoms, terrible depression, chronic fatigue. I definitely wasn't moving as much, not even working out. And what about moving? I barely got off the sofa for 4 or 5 hours a day. I was just not myself. And then I needed food, like, quickly. I couldn't be bothered to prepare food. And so I was eating like almost comfort food, I suppose. And so it took a good, hard, honest conversation with myself in the mirror. And then as an exercise, I sort of had this light bulb moment. And as an exercise, I sort of thought, I'm actually going to track what I'm eating without changing anything. And I was way off.
Yeah.
So,
right. And as hard as that can be, it's kind of like this, like, okay, like, now I know what I can do.
Yes.
Now I know what I can do. Okay, so that's the big gun for fat loss, ladies. You will never lose weight without a calorie deficit. All of these other things are going to really support that deficit, including this next one, which is sufficient protein. It's a buzzword these days. You will see it everywhere. If you're in the supermarket, like, so many boxes have the word protein, high protein. It will tell you that a lot of that's gimmicky stuff. You really want to read the label, because they're slapping protein on everything willy-nilly these days, because the word is getting out that it's important. Why is it important? Here's the big reason it's important. It will spare your muscle in a calorie deficit. We talked about how strength training helps with that, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about it here again in a minute. Strength training and enough protein are keys to keeping your muscle. Okay. When you're in a calorie deficit, you are literally eating fewer calories than your body needs to maintain its weight. It still needs to get energy from somewhere. We want it to take its energy from your fat stores, not your muscle. Eating enough protein helps to spare your muscle. Second reason is it's the most filling macronutrients. So there's 3 macronutrients. We've got carbohydrates, fats, and protein. You can eat and should be eating all of those. Prioritizing protein is going to help you when you are trying to lose weight, because it is the most filling of those 3. And so hunger is a real issue for people who are in a deficit. The real deal is you will be hungry in a calorie deficit. You should not be extremely hungry. And if you are, upping your protein can really help with that. It will keep you full. So that's a second benefit. And then the third one is not as important as the other 2, but it's a nice little side bonus. protein has what's called the highest thermic effect of food or thermic effect of feeding. It takes calories to digest food. It takes more calories for your body to digest protein. So if you eat more of it, it can help again with that little bit of a metabolism boost. It's just a small little benefit, but it's worth mentioning.
And I think it's also worth mentioning two other things to sort of like back up what Kim said there is we know that our muscle protein synthesis, the way we actually use protein to build muscle, is impacted through our decline in estrogen. So it's something we need to prioritize as we get older anyway, because she's already told you you're going to lose 3 to 8% a decade. So we have to focus on, like, with the strength training to build muscle, we need the protein anyway. But from a personal point of view, I found that when I'm like truly hungry, if I say forget to eat, my whole life just falls out of the world. Like I'm miserable, I'm cranky, I get migraines, like my sugar dip's really low. And if I do the one thing of focusing on protein over anything else and maintain that throughout the day, like find it at breakfast, lunch, a snack and dinner, if I eat it, then I never get these sugar dips. And that's a lot of what happens to women. And then as soon as you get those dips in sugar, like if you're not feeling satisfied, what are you going to do? It's muffin time, right?
Yep. It's muffin time.
You're likely not going to make the best choices.
It's
is
really
what
true.
I'm going to say, and it impacts your mood and everything. So it's just a really great thing to focus on.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And most women who come to me aren't eating nearly enough protein, and women come to me eating 40, 50 grams of protein in a day. And I know, ladies, the RDA, what's the RDA? Like 50, 55? Yeah. It's really low, but it's important to note, what does the RDA, what is it? It is the amount of protein you should eat so you do not have disease, so that bad things do not happen to your body. It is not the optimal amount of protein for you to be losing weight, for you to be gaining muscle. It is just enough so bad stuff doesn't happen to your body. So keep that in mind. All right, so that's the nutrition piece. It's the big stuff, guys. Now let's talk about the exercise piece, which is going to really support it. Strength training. We started touching on that. I want to talk about it just a little bit more.
Oh, by the way, this is where I said, Kim, are you humping the bench?
Yes, that's what I wanted to show you. Here's me humping the bench. Here are some basic moves you should be incorporating in your exercise. You should have upper body pushes, upper body pulls. You should have hinging patterns and squat patterns and lunging patterns. I left out bridging patterns for some reason. You should also have bridging patterns in there. So this stuff is important. When you say you want to lose weight, what you really mean is you want to lose fat. And I don't care. I'm not trying to mince words with you here. The difference there is we want you to lose fat, not muscle. This, I've already hit this a lot here today, so I'm just going to say it one more time. Show your body you need your muscle by using your muscle, okay? Your body's going to be like, this lady keeps picking up heavy stuff. I should keep this muscle on me. You show your body that, you give it that stimulus by strength training in a particular way.
And let's remind people that there's a lot of women that are hesitant about doing it. That may look intimidating to people. I always do the Walmart thing. I just saw you coming out of Walmart with 30 bags. Don't tell me you can't lift heavy things.
It's like really true.
It's literally, we are very capable. And even women with injury, there was a question about a woman with injury and she was really struggling. There are always workarounds for people with injury. Obviously work with a professional, but it's just one of those things that, like, it's the most empowering thing in the world to feel strong, and it's so transferable into your everyday life. So when you want to play with your kids or your grandkids, those things are just easier when you're stronger.
Absolutely. And we really, many women just really undershoot about how strong they are. You're like, if you've picked up a kid, you've picked up more than 10 pounds, ladies. You've picked up more than 10 pounds. You're right. Your Walmart bags, your laundry basket, your purse, like you lift up things that are heavy all the time. So don't go into the gym and think like 8 pounds. I literally had a client tell me the other day, she's like, I can't believe I can lift more than 80 pounds. She's like, I just ordered my 25-pound dumbbells, Kim's. And I'm like, of course you can lift more than 8 pounds. And I know that's a really prevalent thought. When you are strength training, obviously consistency is important. Progression is the other super important part. If you are just kind of like pulling this exercise off the internet and this swipe workout there, and you're kind of doing a little of this and a little of that, you're not giving your body an opportunity to progress. Okay. The other way people get this piece wrong is they go into the gym for a strength training workout. And what they're really doing is cardio while holding weights. They're focusing on how many calories can I burn today? Is my heart rate getting up? Am I feeling sore? Am I sweating? And doing that, you're not actually focusing on what is going to grow your muscles, which is getting stronger over time. So when you're in the gym, slow down, take rest times between your exercises, and focus on lifting more weight over time. So if you did a goblet squat with 10 pounds today, see if you can do it with 12 pounds the next time you do it. In the beginning, you will be making these increases a lot. Over time, you're not going to every single time lift more weight. In the beginning, those wins come fast. And I want you to focus on that. What can I do today to be stronger in the gym? Can I use better form? Can I do heavier weight? Can I do more reps in the rep range I've been given? That is how your body will gain muscle.
You'll get toned and leaned.
You'll get toned and lean. Like, I know a lot of people get annoyed with that word. I use that word because women knows what it means. Women knows what it means, right? In their mind, like they get it. They're like, I want to get toned. You want to get toned? Fine. I'll show you how to get toned. Build some muscle.
We're joking. Okay.
All right. Next up, NEAT. We talked about this a little bit before. I want to go into it a little bit more here. Nutrition is number one for creating your calorie deficit. Number one, you will not out exercise your diet. You've heard that, and it's 100% true. Then your NEAT is going to be the next most important thing to help you create this deficit. This right here, this little colorful graph I'm showing you here, is your total calories burned in a day, your TDEE. That stands for total daily energy expenditure. Most of your calories that you burn in a day are actually used for your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. That's things like your heart is pumping, your brain is functioning, you're blinking. That's what you use most of the calories you burn for. All right. Up here, that TEF, remember we just talked about that, the thermic effect of food, use 10% of the calories out for digesting your food. The other two pieces, the EAT and the NEAT, these are your activity calories. Notice the top, that EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis, that's the smallest part. That's your exercise. That's what everybody focuses on, right? Like, I want to lose weight, I should go for a jog. It doesn't have the impact you think it does. I'm not saying cardio is bad. I'm just saying it's not going to be the big gun for you. And the reason it makes sense if you think like, even if you're a really dedicated exerciser, how much are you exercising in a week? Even if you did an hour a day, that's 7 hours in an entire week. It's just not that much time. Here, when we're talking about activity, is a really big place for improvement, that non-exercise activity thermogenesis. If you're a sedentary person, you're not burning many calories in a day or in a week, just sitting there. But if you purposely over time up that, you can make a big impact. The easiest and most direct way to do that is to track your steps. Track your steps, see where you're at now, and see how can I get more in. Amanda, do you move a lot during a day naturally, or did you have to up that a little bit at a time?
You know, it's interesting. I'm a busy, fussy person around the house, but my NEAT is never as high as I think it should be. It's really interesting. Like, I love my workouts, but like my workouts are done in half an hour, right? And then, yeah, so it's definitely something that I've changed over the last 2 years, I would say, especially when I was sick with COVID. All I could do was like neat stuff like walking and pottering around the house, and it's pretty impactful, I have to say. And you know, even I have a lot of friends who are athletes. They'll do their workout in the gym and then literally sit at a desk all day. It's right. It's pretty common.
They might consider themselves an active person, right? Yes. And a lot of people do. They consider themselves active because they work out hard a couple of times a week for whatever sport it is they play.
And people underestimate how beneficial something like walking is. I think walking is like, oh, that's what grandmas do or whatever. But I mean, the thing is, from a cellular level, it's so good for many of our health markers, just for overall good heart health and joints, and you know, and most of our health markers that we'll be going to see the doctor about as we get older can be impacted greatly just by walking more. It's like it's free, it's easy, almost everybody can do it. You know, most people,
Most people can do it. And you don't need to put on special shoes. You don't need to put on your workout clothes. I'm literally talking about like, just get up off of your chair in your office and pace around your office. Like you said, you kick your husband out to walk a little bit, a couple times each day. You can set small goals to be like, okay, every hour I'm going to walk for 2 minutes. I do this because I, as a trainer, you would think maybe she's active. No, because I train everybody online. I do this all day. I sit at my desk. And so I make myself get up. I write it on my to-do list. I do this item. I'm going to write one training plan and I'm going to go walk for 3 minutes. In the dead of winter, I can walk in my house, right? You could say, I'm going to walk for 5 minutes after every meal.
You did that to me once. She did a video talk with me walking around the house and I literally got vertigo. I was like, what are you trying to, do you want to make me puke? Come on.
I know, right? Because I just pacing around my house.
She actually does do it. And then Zoe has just commented, because we're getting quite a lot of comments, it's great, how good it is for your mental health. Well, there's a study I read recently that even just 3 minutes of walking can release dopamine, like enough of those feel-good endorphins to actually improve your mental health. I'm not saying 3 minutes is enough, but it's just like, it's simple. It's a simple way to just feel, and our mental health is so severely impacted through menopause. It's got to be a priority for us.
Yeah. And if you're a person who's worried, like, wait, I've just got other stuff to get done, like I've got work to do, it will benefit your work. You are going to be more productive. And research has shown this. You will be more productive if you get up and move every hour than if you stay tied to your desk. So don't feel like, wait a minute, I'm going to get up during my working hours. I'm going to be cheating my employer. No, you're going to work better for them. You really are. All right. And then the last one in the Menopause Fat Loss Formula, the last element is managing your menopause hurdles. I showed you that whole list of hurdles earlier, and yours, I'm sure, is going to be a little bit different than the exact one I showed there. But think about your menopause hurdles, maybe your top 4, 5, 6, whatever they are. You've got to manage them if you want to lose the weight. Three possible ways you can approach that. And then what I'm going to suggest to you is it's going to be some combination of these. The medical end, the supplement end, super important. Neither Amanda nor I ever pretend to be doctors. We are not. We're both very passionate about connecting you with those who are in the medical profession, getting good medical care. If you're not sleeping, maybe HRT is the solution for you. Maybe, taking magnesium is a solution for you. So really approaching what is your hurdle, and is there something in the medical supplemental realm that you should go for? And I would really suggest that you see an MD. I know it rattles a lot of people's cages, but functional medicine, it can be a dangerous area to go to. There's a lot of charlatans. That's all I'll say there. Lifestyle choices, super impactful. Even while you're doing this part here with the medicine and the supplements, the lifestyle piece. If sleep is the issue, what can we do to clean up your sleep hygiene? Okay, what can we do? If stress is the issue, what can you do with your lifestyle to change that? What do we do about getting you on your own to-do list? If you're so busy, right, that midlife squeeze is a really big issue for so many women. We've got the aging parents, and we've got our teenagers, and we've got our spouse, and we've got our job. Where do we come on this list? And so we need to work on that here in this lifestyle piece. And then there's the mindset piece, which again, I know sounds really woo-woo, but it's important, because if you only see the hurdles and you don't look for the solutions, you're never going to find them. And so what can we do to train your mindset to look for solutions to these things? Let's say, for example, sleep. Let's say you're working with the medical aspect and you've gotten your sleep hygiene under control and you're still not sleeping. All right, then you need to have the mindset of what's next? What do I do next? And there's a lot that can still be done. So one of the things that happens if you're not sleeping is you're craving more. Maybe you're not as satisfied. You're not moving as much. You can actively approach each of those if you go in with the mindset of, I want to approach those versus I can't do anything about it.
And I think that, we all agree, Kim, that, everybody's journey is unique. It sounds really woo again, but like we're all going through this together in a very unique, individual way. And so what works for Kim might not work for me, and it hasn't. We have very different stories, and so it definitely is really important to look at everything. You can't just say, I need to lose weight, I'm going to look at my nutrition. If your sleep is shit and you're stressed as a what, if your stress bucket is sloshing over and you're just adding more and more stress to that, then you're not going to lose weight. You have to focus on everything as a whole, complete unit. Even more so now than ever. I feel like menopause is the time in our life when if we don't have all of those boxes ticked, it's just much more difficult. So it's really important to be going to this knowing that the stuff that seems really boring, like going for a walk every day, how you think through menopause, and then just making sure you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, it matters. So there.
It does. So there.
So
It
there.
really does matter. And these are some of the things, if you think about like, oh, when I was younger, I could, get away with eating all this stuff. And a lot of what's changed is all of this lifestyle stuff, like your stress levels and your lack of sleep is really impacting you. And so it is harder to just eat all the junk food because you're likely going to eat too much of it. Right. And it's a really, it's sad, ladies, but we have to be way more on top of this stuff than our younger counterparts.
Yeah.
We just do. And that is the menopause fat loss formula. And this leads me to the number one question I get asked, which is, what the heck do I do with this belly fat? What do I do about it? It won't go away. And as I said, the change in your hormones shifts where you store your excess fat. That is the word I want you to focus on right here for a moment. It's excess. It is your excess fat. Menopause is not causing you to not lose this fat. Your hormones are not saying, whatever your name is, you cannot lose fat from there. What it is saying is if you have excess fat, you will store it there most likely. You will lose that fat in the exact same way I just described to you. It does not exist outside of that formula. There is no special belly fat protocol you need. There's no special supplement. There's no special belly fat routine you need to have. You do those things and then you are patient with it. Sometimes it's the last area to lose the fat. The boobs go first, ladies, and then eventually it will come to your belly. I promise.
Well, it's really interesting. The studies show it for women specifically. It's a top-down fat loss. That's usually how women.
You see it in your face. You lose the boobs.
Face, boobs. Yeah.
That's
how it works. But it's really important to hear what Kim's saying. You cannot follow a belly fat loss diet. It's just marketing gimmicks, and it's targeting you in a predatory way, because we're more vulnerable, because we've all put weight on there, because that is actually what happens. Our fat metabolism shifts. It goes to a more androgen type, like male type patterning. And that's just one of those things. So yeah, you may have a thicker waistline and you may lose weight everywhere else of your body, and it might be the last thing to go, but it's still, if it's fat, it's fat. Fat's fat.
It's fat. There's no different kind of fat. It is not a different kind of belly fat. It's not different. So that is it, ladies. Here's the trick. You got to be consistent with the application of the stuff. And that's the real kicker. And you might be in your mind, that's where I struggle. Maybe I'm not as consistent. I'm going to show you a couple more pictures because I just think it's powerful stuff to see that your counterparts can do this. This is Vanessa, and Amanda and I were talking. Amanda knows Vanessa.
And Vanessa was actually one of my clients 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so actually it was because of me this happened. No.
Because of Amanda that Vanessa came to work with me. Vanessa came to me and she said a year ago, she's like, look, I had lost a ton of weight and I have now lost my mojo and I'm in perimenopause and I'm tired all the time and I know what to do. Clearly she got her advice from you, Amanda. She's like, I know what I should be eating and I know how I should be exercising. I am just not doing it. And I'm really, really tired. What should I do? And then over the course of 11 months, this is the transformation she made. And she was not exercising extreme amounts. This is 3 times a week exercising. And we worked on those menopause hurdles and she was able to make this transformation. She worked friggin' hard, but she did.
And I've spoken to Vanessa as well, because I just wanted to tell her I was proud of her, because I know it was something that she wanted, right? And here's the key, right? Kim's giving you a whole ton of information. The way that these applications of principles that work is by slowly doing things and slowly bringing in these concepts into your life. So this is something I think that's really hard to get over. So if Kim's telling you to eat protein at every meal, she's not going to tell you to do 12 things all in 1 week. And
absolutely true.
The way that fat loss happens sustainably long term is by doing small behavioral changes. And behavioral changes are things that come as second nature to you after doing for a while. So for me, the two that were very impactful for me personally, just in case you care, are eating slow, not eating until I was hungry, and then eating slowly. So actually understanding true hunger cues, because our hunger hormones are impacted through menopause. We don't truly understand if we're really hungry or if we're really satisfied. So I would wait to try and determine if it was boredom, it was habit, or if it was true hunger. And if it was true hunger, I would eat. And then the other thing that worked for me is I ate really slowly. And now when we have a family meal, I'm sat the last one to finish. And I very rarely finish my meal because I eat until I'm satisfied. When you eat slowly and enjoy and nourish yourself, it's hard to overeat. So I know that that's the principles that you applied, and I know that that's the type of thing Vanessa did. And so you can't poo-poo those type of impacts. Yeah.
And and a lot of people do, because like, that can't be what it is. That can't be, but it is those kinds of things, right? You know, she had to work really hard to figure out, how do I get in enough protein every day? And like, we had to work on those kinds of things. And how do I work out when I don't feel like working out? Like, how do I do it? Like, and how am I kind to myself? Because look, our energy kind of ebbs and flows. And how do I get back at it when I needed to take a week a little bit slower? And all of these things. It's really important stuff. I'm going to show you a couple more pictures. I told you I was going to tell you about my course, that I have a challenge for you, and I'm going to zero pressure, ladies. It's something I'm releasing because I work with people like you who they're tired of feeling like they can't do it, and they want to take action. So my course, it's a 60-day challenge. You're not going to be done in 60 days, but it's to get you practicing action steps. Every week, I'll give you different action steps, a different module. This is another one of my clients, Lucy. Now, she was different from me. She's not somebody who struggled with her weight her whole life. She was used to being fit and thin. And in menopause, she's like, where did this belly come from? Like, where did this come from? And she lost her weight the same way Vanessa did, small habit changes, working out, eating protein, nothing fancy. And in a couple months, her menopause belly was going down. Quickly show you a couple more. This is Pam. Look at the difference. This one, the fit of her shorts just kills me every single time. Jennifer, look at her waist. Solidly in menopause, 50 years old, got this incredible trim waist. Lisa, down to gym jean sizes. I got to tell you, the scale hardly moved for her. It's really important, ladies. If you're a lean person looking to get leaner and you think in your mind, I need to lose 10 pounds, as in the scale has to go down 10 pounds, it's really interesting. If you pay attention to how your clothes are fitting and what's going on with the measuring tape, you might find you need to lose 2 pounds and 3 pounds because you're losing fat and building muscle. That applies for lean people looking to get leaner. Like, you can't be 50 pounds overweight and expect to not see the scale go down. But if you're lean and you're just feeling a little fluffy, you might see the scale doesn't move, but your jean sizes do. And then here's Joanne, total rock star, lost 40 pounds, completely changed. And she changed her confidence. I love Joanne.
You can see that in her stance. You can see that in her body.
You absolutely can. You absolutely can. And she went from being a person who, she told me on the phone, she's like, I don't move much. I sit in a chair most of the day. And now she easily walks 10,000 steps a day and busts out push-ups like a boss. She's working on getting her first chin up right now. She was never into exercise a day in her life. This is her in her 50s. Incredible people. So real quick, I'm going to show you about my course, ladies. And
then we have some questions. We have a bunch of questions.
We'll take questions. So the course is for you. If you're over 40, you're struggling with belly fat, lack of energy, you're tired of trying and failing. You don't need any official diagnosis, right? You don't need to say like, my doctor says I'm in menopause. Nothing like that. This is what you get in the course. No BS nutrition guidelines. It's not going to be anything like crazy. You're going to get very clear. You're not going to have to think for yourself, what should I do with my nutrition? I will give you very clear guidelines. It's also not going to be like, eat broccoli and chicken at 10. It's not like that. You can eat the food you love, but I'm going to help give you a structure. It'll be very clear. How do I set up my nutrition to lose weight? 6-week workout plan. It's going to be strength-based. I'll also give cardio guidelines and some optional Metcons. 9 modules will be coming to a course module on a site called Kajabi. You'll get 1 new module every week. We will talk about things like, how do I manage stress eating, and what do I do if I'm not sleeping, and how do I make time for myself? And of course, the nutrition piece is going to be huge, the exercise piece. Dr. Heather Hirsch, she's a friend of Amanda and mine. She made a module for me all about managing your menopause hurdles through both hormonal and non-hormonal treatment options. Because again, I'm not a doctor, ladies. Online community and weekly group live calls with me to get any and all questions about the program answered. If you're like, hey, I'm trying this nutrition stuff, here's what's happening to me, what do you think? I'm there for you. And I'm having prizes because it's a contest. You can win money, not from losing the most amount of weight. Those things bug me, right? I don't want you to be like, I lost in 60 days, I lost 25 pounds. Like, that's crazy. I want to reward people for putting action into place. And so I'm going to choose the winners based on who is implementing the strategies that I'm giving you. And then here's the cost, ladies. $3.99. $3.99 this time. I'm launching it now. I'll be launching it again in the fall. It is live for 1 week from yesterday until next Monday. $3.99 for the entire 9 weeks together. Nutrition, training, all of it, mindset stuff, all of it's there.
It says 60 days and I'm like 6 weeks because I'm really stupid. And I'm like, and I was saying 9 weeks and I'm like, oh God, because then you went 9 modules and I'm like, in 6 weeks, that's not one a week.
No,
I'm actually quite clever,
And here's the reason. And people are like, wait, why is it only a 6-week training program? Because as Amanda was talking about, I'm not going to throw everything at you at once. We're going to get into the nutrition piece first and then go into the workout piece. And that's why the workouts are only 6 weeks, not 9 weeks.
And what I would add about the workouts as well is like, I'm still doing workouts that I wrote for myself 7-8 years ago, because they don't die just because you've finished them. Like even in my book, those MMR workouts, when you've done them, you can go back and do them again. And the reason is because you're probably stronger, fitter, healthier, and then you can lift heavier weights and challenge yourself more. So all of those things, right? So we have a whole bunch of questions, Kim. So we'll go through these and we'll probably make this take tops 5 minutes because we've had you on a long time, ladies. So can you just quickly review NEAT and why it's important, please?
Yes. So NEAT is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's all the calories you burn outside of exercise. Exercise is something different. So yes, that would count there too. Thank you, Amanda. That would count.
With the rock.
With the rock, yes. Washing your dishes. And what I'm telling you is it's all the movement you do. So if I sat here like wiggling my leg, that's NEAT. What I'm telling you is that you as a person can choose to up your NEAT by figuring out how much you want to move in a day. And a step tracker can help you with that. You don't have to track steps to move more, just like you don't have to track calories to eat less, but it is a really good way to give yourself awareness. So when I transitioned from being a personal trainer in person to sitting at this desk, that's when it was years ago, I got out my step tracker and I bought one on Amazon for $13 and I put it on and I'm like, I am moving less than 3,000 steps a day. That's not healthy. That's not even meeting like the general guidelines of how much a person should move. And I'm a trainer. And so I had to teach myself, like, how will I get this movement in while I'm working full time and I've got my kids? And so I came up with all kinds of little strategies to get myself right. And the strategies can be different for each person. Like I said, one of
the things I do is when I go food shopping, I bring one bag in at a time. Like, so I go back like 10 times. It's silly things. And
stop sending your kids to get something for you. If you're in a room and you need something upstairs, don't send your teenager. Go yourself. Right?
I know.
Is that taking too far for you, Amanda?
Yeah, send the teenager. Okay. So Kelly has just asked, any thoughts on adding protein powder and collagen? 2 questions. I know the answer to this.
Protein powder is a definite yes. There's no reason you can't have it. It is not better than chicken, eggs, fish. It is just another type of protein source. And for many women, it really helps because they're not used to getting in so much protein. So not a must, but an option for you. You don't need any special. Yeah, you don't need any special.
I struggle to eat a lot of protein. And so I use protein once a day in either my Greek yogurt for breakfast or my porridge for breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's an easy way to get an extra 25 grams in. Yeah.
Now, collagen, no, the research does not support it. It is not doing what it says. There might be some benefits for joints. There might, and that's the best we can say. There's no reason to be using collagen.
Jennifer Aniston sold out. Honestly, don't we not when she did that. And it's serious, ladies, because if you're eating enough protein, you're getting collagen from meat, because that's essentially where you get your collagen from. And especially when it's targeted to women for hair, wrinkles, all of the things that like we see on the outside. The data definitely isn't there to back that. But yes, for some, and it's even when it's for joints, there's only specific types of collagen that can help with that. I think it's collagen 3. I always forget, but go to your physio and ask him. Don't like. Yeah.
I think protein, get whey or get casein or get pea if you want a vegan protein source.
Yeah. Okay. Natalie said LBT and estimates. Can you just review that quickly, please?
Yes. LBT is lick, spice, and taste. So it's all the food that you nibble on throughout a day. If you have fewer, what can we call them, food encounters in a day, you're going to take in less calories. So have definitive meals. I'm not going to tell you how many meals you need in a day. You could have 3 meals and a snack. You could have 2 meals if you prefer that. I don't like that kind of structure. You could have, 3 meals, no snack, 3 meals, 2 snacks, but have them be distinct eating opportunities where you sit and eat your food and pay attention to it versus I eat in the car and I eat at my desk and I eat as I'm wandering room from room and I take a little bit here and there. That stuff adds up. Those are the licks, bites, and tastes. The thing I say to myself, and I have my clients say it to themselves, if I'm getting ready to like eat my kids' leftovers, that's not my food. That's not my food. And if I want an Eggo waffle, I should go put it in the toaster and get it warm, not eat it cold on the table, right? And put it on a plate and sit down and eat it. And that's what you should do. And likely you're going to be like, really, do I want an Eggo waffle?
Probably. You don't. The
Probably don't.
Oh. I'm joking. Okay, moving on. Heather said, this is a quite a long question, but I'm glad she's asked this. Thanks for saying this, Heather. I have lost so much muscle during the past year from recovering from uterine cancer. She's had to have a hysterectomy, chemotherapy, and radiation. So I'm really sorry to hear that, Heather, but I hope you're feeling better. How does one start a wee strengthening program when everything hurts? I really don't want to be the 80-year-old who can't get off the toilet.
Yeah, I know, Heather, I'm with you. So the one thing I would say is, let's make sure you're ready for this. Like, are you cleared by your doctor? And do you feel mentally ready to tackle this? You've got all the time in the world, right? We want you to be in a good place. We want you to be in a good place physically to do this. And if you're like, yeah, like I'm ready for this, my doctor says I can, let's have you start super small. So if you've already added in some walking, great. You've got that piece taken care of. You could even just say twice a week, I am going to do squats to my chair and I'm going to do push-ups on my counter. Like, and literally you could just do those two things. You could do one set of those two things, do it 10 times each, one time. And then maybe you're like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm getting stronger at this. You could add in either another day of doing that or a third exercise, right? Then maybe you say, I'm trying to think of what's an easy exercise if you don't even have a lot of equipment. You could say, I am going to pick up a heavy something I have. Maybe you have weights and I'm going to do a row. Okay, so I'm going to do this move and I'm going to do that 10 times with each arm. And so now you're doing 3 moves. You don't have to do a full-blown strength program to be getting some benefit. If you're a person who's severely deconditioned for any reason, the littlest bit is going to help you.
And I'm all about, like, I mean, I sort of was in, not quite to the extent of you, Heather, I'm not comparing, but when I had the COVID long haul and Kim was sick, we both got really sick this year. Yeah. 4 or 5 months of really no movement. How to get back into it was a real concern for me. And obviously I'd done it for years. And so it was an easier transition in, but I sort of adopted the fitness snacking principles. Yes. And I sort of was like, today I've got 5 minutes in me, I think, and I'd pick something I could do for a few reps of 5 minutes. And even those small things, they build and build and build. And that's what I think people don't truly appreciate, is when you start changing these small things, you're just starting the snowball. So don't think it's not enough. And if you're, it is enough. No. And then if you're not even walking, that's the perfect place to start. Yeah. Okay. Protein, how much is enough?
So 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, if you're within a reasonable amount of your so-called goal weight, right? If you have 50 pounds to lose, let's not have you eating a gram per pound of that. Okay. So you can give yourself an interim goal weight. So if you're 200 pounds and your goal weight is 150, you could say, okay, I'm going to go 150 pounds and multiply that times 0.8 and times 1. And that's going to be the ratio, the range of protein I'm going to get. So 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, or per lean body weight, which you don't need a fancy tool to measure that. Think about your goal.
Yeah. And I always say then, and if you can't even work that out, try and get at least 100 grams a day.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good baseline for anyone. Start with 100 grams a day.
Natalie said something that a lot of people, it's the same thing. The LBTs and eating too fast are biggies. And it's a biggie for everyone. Heather was really impressed with that woman's posture, and you could just see the confidence in her. And I love that. And if we could get every woman to feel confident again in her body, that would be the ultimate goal. You know,
it comes, ladies, it comes from taking action. It comes from you doing things and then seeing yourself as a person who does things. Like this was my life. Like, I always thought of myself, I never thought of myself a day in my life as a strong person until I started getting in the gym when I was 43. And all of a sudden I realized, like, I'm a strong person because I lift heavy stuff up I do hard things in the gym all the time. And then that was the first time I saw myself as a strong person, and I was 43, and that's kind of sad. But it's a powerful thing, and it's not too late for you. If you're like, I don't feel confident and I don't feel strong, getting a hold on your physical strength can really help with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have to go quickly. There's quite a lot of questions. And Beth's asked for what type of scale do we recommend? And I don't know if she means food scale or weight scale. Food scale, just get a digital one off Amazon for like $10 for, and the same for body weight scale. I've been trialing the Shaper or Shaper, Shaper scale lately, and it's a numberless one. So it only gives you colors when you get to your goal range. And I love it. I can talk about that at another time, but
a very interesting concept.
It's an interesting concept, and it's a little bit less impactful, I find. But anyway, you can just get the cheapest one off Amazon.
The equipment like that is never important. Like literally just get any digital scale for both of those.
Yeah, you don't want it to cost you a lot of money to do this, right? Like you don't have to buy super expensive supplements and stuff like that. Amanda said, I've stopped drinking alcohol for many reasons, okay? And it's helped me cut out my evening TV chip snack. And that's exactly what Kim was saying. Yeah. It goes hand in hand. Because I'm not hungry in the evening without the glass of wine, so she's hoping that's going to help with the perimenopause weight, and it probably will have an impact. Zoe has asked about MCT oil. Don't bother. Just don't bother.
Research doesn't support that.
No, it's just another gimmick. Jennifer's confirmed it's collagen type 2 for joints. Thank you, because I couldn't remember. If you have Anastasia, if you have nut allergies, be careful of pea protein. For some people, that can also trigger allergic reactions. So that's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know that either. And actually, some of the vegan proteins you might have to play around with, because they're sometimes a bit chalky. They're not as palatable as some of the dairy ones, but it depends if you can take it or not.
Yeah.
People are just saying, thank you. That was great.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And let me just make sure there's no more. Okay, we think we've answered everything. And then Jennifer said, can you please just come and follow me around for a few days? If once COVID's over and you pay the airfare, I'll come to Atlanta for sure.
People say that to me all the time. The funny thing about that, it wouldn't work anyway. No. It wouldn't work. Everybody says that to me, and I'm like, it's not going to work. It's about you, and it's a hard decision to make, but about saying like, I'm going to make these changes, and I'm just going to keep at it, and I'm going to knock the food out of my own hand. It's hard. It's hard to do, ladies, but you can do it. You can do it.
So, honestly, that was so great. I loved doing this with Kim. I hope it's really helped you, because one of the things we were just finding is that there literally was just so much information being put in the group that and there's lots of trainers in the group, and there's lots of registered dietitians in the group, and they could all be challenged. Like, really, it's the simple things that work. And I really would recommend you save this video, review it a few times, feel free to put questions in there, and we'll try and get back to them over the next day or two. But thank you so much for coming. Thank you, ladies. That was awesome.
Amanda, you're dropping your link into the comments?
I'm going to put my links in the description for Kim's course. I'll put it in the comments. But in addition to that, I'm going to download this video. I'm going to upload it to my YouTube so it's there, because I would love for women to just be able to go back and review this. And I know we've been talking a long time, but I'm hoping that it was helpful.
Thanks, ladies. Glad to be here with you. And I'm around in the group all the time too.
Yeah. So feel free to ask us. Take care, everybody. Thank you. And now I have to work out how to cancel this, but that's fine. I'm sure I can do it. There. And I'm going to stop recording now.
It's still saying recording on my end.
Okay.